for the new world order.
If you've been online in the last few days, you might have heard about strange noises, digital IDs, and talk of a new world order. On the surface, these stories just seem like bizarre coincidences. But by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why the media doesn't want people talking about any of this. And we have to start things off with what the Prime Minister of Canada just said.
I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Now, that clip went viral almost instantly because people started asking a very simple question. What kind of new world order is he talking about? But what's interesting, though, is that several major news outlets didn't even show this clip in their coverage.
It comes on the first full day of a trade mission to China, led by Prime Minister Mark Carney.
This is indeed a very important meeting and the most auspicious start to the new year and to a new era of relations between Canada and China.
And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you already know this isn't surprising. Mark Carney is just another World Economic Forum puppet.
These offsets can also be catalytic as part of helping the economics of absolutely essential breakthrough technologies that need to happen for us to ultimately get to net zero. And I'm sure that will come up more clearly because Bill Gates has led on those technologies.
Carbon Markets, a conversation with Bill Gates, Mark Carney, Annette Nazareth, and Bill Winters. My name is Nicole Schwab. I'm the co-director of the Platform to Accelerate Nature-Based Solutions at the World Economic Forum, and I will be your moderator for this session.
Even after becoming president, he's continued pushing the same globalist talking points. And this sudden friendship with China looks like just another step in that direction.
I think the biggest security threat to Canada is China.
We're heartened by the leadership of President Xi Jinping and the speed with which our relationship has progressed in recent months. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Some people claimed this was Canada trying to challenge U.S. policy, but that doesn't line up with reality at all. You see, when President Trump was asked about it, he didn't seem concerned in the slightest.
Prime Minister Carney is in China. Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals Canada and China have just signed, trade deals between the two partners?
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
It almost felt like he was expecting this. And let's be honest, we also have to remember that our very own president has openly talked about reshaping the global order.
We know there's the big housing speech. What else can we anticipate?
There's also going to be some look at the new world order that President Trump is creating. And, a lot of countries that were, whining about tariffs 6 months ago and saying that President Trump was going to harm their economies had pretty good years. And I think it's in part because people recognize that President Trump has made it so that we are the shining city on the hill again. We are the engine of global economic growth because the U.S. is really that strong again.
I think a lot of people don't understand one simple thing. Canada can talk tough all day long, but at the end of the day, it's part of a larger script. That's why I believe the people loudly opposing Trump over Greenland are just playing their roles.
Greenland belongs to its people, so it's up to Denmark and Greenland, and only to them, to decide on matters that are concerning Denmark and Greenland. That's point number one, and that's very important.
Everybody think in France, in the European Union, that Greenland is not to be sold, not to be taken.
Greenland, the future of Greenland is a decision for Greenland and for the Kingdom of Denmark. We are NATO partners with Denmark, and so our full partnership stands. Our obligations on Article 5, Article 2 of NATO stand, and we stand full square behind those.
Because when it comes down to it, the president can bring all of these leaders to the table with one simple threat: tariffs.
Put a 25% tariff, which is, by the way, about 7 times more than they would have to pay by raising their drug, like 7 times. This wasn't like a little bit more, 7 times more. And I may do that for Greenland, too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that. I'll give you a little, I'll take you out of that. In fact, that'll end up being the story. But actually, this is a much bigger story because we're reducing healthcare by numbers that you haven't seen.
So no, I wouldn't be shocked at all if in the near future the US makes a serious move to take over Greenland. In fact, reports suggest there were even discussions about paying $700 billion to acquire this frozen piece of land, which is absolutely insane.
This morning, there's diplomatic divisions over the fate of Greenland, the Danish territory that President Donald Trump insists the U.S. must control. And he wants to buy Greenland from Denmark for $700 billion.
And that's probably why even some GOP politicians are now pushing back against the idea.
Mr. Miller said that the U.S. government, obviously, Greenland should be part of the U.S. That is absurd. I've got a couple of buddies that call me cranky. You know what makes me cranky? Stupid. What makes me cranky is when people don't do their homework. What makes me cranky is when we tarnish the extraordinary execution of a mission I fully support in Venezuela by turning around and making insane comments about how it is our right to have territory owned by the Kingdom of Denmark. Folks, amateur hour is over. You don't speak on behalf of this U.S. Senator or the Congress. You can say it may be the position of the President of the United States that Greenland should be a part of the United States, but it's not the position of this government because we are a co-equal branch. And if that were to come to pass, there would be a vote on the floor to make it real. Not the surreal sort of environment that some deputy chief of staff thinks was cute to say on TV. So, you want to get me back to thanking the president for all the good things he's doing? Then give him good advice.
I think we have to ask ourselves an important question. How does acquiring Greenland actually help the American people? Does it lower healthcare costs? Does it make groceries cheaper? Does it create real jobs for our kids? Or is this really about mega corporations exploiting land and resources for massive profits? Now, while you answer this, let me tell you about another strange thing that's been happening across the country. People in multiple parts of the U.S. have been reporting unexplained noises and flashes of light. For example, in Pennsylvania, residents have been reporting loud booms shaking their homes.
A neighbor caught the alarming noise on camera Saturday, and this is not the only time it's happened. Now people want answers.
And once again, only local news outlets bothered covering it.
April 2025, January 4th, January 10th. Just a few of the events he has witnessed.
I came up and I saw the flash from all the different angles, and that was pretty intense.
These are people who've lived in the area their entire lives, and they have no explanation for where these flashes and sounds are coming from. Even the local utility company has denied any involvement.
To Pico, and a spokesperson told us that the company had no work being done in the area this weekend and was confident that the source of those noises and flashes are not from the utility company.
Something very similar has been reported in Ohio, where residents described a bizarre, almost mechanical sound echoing through the night.
As darkness sets in, a strange sound surfaces. What people are hearing in Northside, Clifton, and Camp Washington
Authorities claimed it might be a faulty engine at a nearby rail yard.
Our best lead, though, comes from a source who wished to stay anonymous. They sent me this recording of what they say the sound is. They say it's coming from CSXT 8431, an older trim engine that apparently needs fixing.
But not everyone is buying that explanation, and honestly, I don't blame them. We have a very long history of testing strange technology on our own people. So the idea that this could be some kind of government experiment isn't far-fetched at all. And that might explain why major news networks are staying silent. Now, I want to end this video with something important. You probably remember how the British government tried to force digital IDs on its population.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free-of-charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
Mobile phone, then this isn't mandatory. So you don't have to have it. It will make your life easier if you want it, but you don't have to have it. We're consulting on what other forms of ID would help them. Again, it won't be mandatory. You can still use your passport or your birth certificate or your 3 bank accounts if you want, however many times. You can choose to pay £85 to a company to prove that you are who you are every time you need to. Or you can take the easy route, which is get digital ID.
I also told you about the massive protests where hundreds of thousands of people pushed back against this dystopian policy.
Keep up the good work, Alice. Thank you. Well done, everyone. When I saw him for the first time, Alan!
Digital ID. We say no. So you get the picture. That's going to be one of our main times today. So everyone needs to go home.
Well, it looks like that pressure worked. Reports suggest the government has backed off, at least for now.
Here, the government has dropped plans to require people to sign up to its digital ID scheme in order to prove their right to work in the UK. Nearly 3 million people had signed a petition to Parliament opposing the proposal to make the IDs mandatory.
And that is good news. Mandatory digital IDs strip people of financial freedom and personal autonomy. But let's be real, the people behind this program aren't just going to give up. Digital ID systems are spreading worldwide, and they'll find another way to push them onto the public.
Most of the time you're online, you're going to want to be in an environment where the people are truly identified. That is, they're connected to a real world identity that you trust instead of just people saying whatever they want. And we're going to have systems and behaviors that we're more aware of. Okay, who says that? Who created this?
Still, this proves one thing. When people are loud enough, organized enough, and refuse to comply, these policies can be stopped. And that's something worth remembering.